Alright, and I'm back again with another Marvel Cinematic Universe review, and today we're covering the final chapter in the Raimi series, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Spider-Man 3. Is this movie as good as Spider-Man 1 and 2? 1 was pretty good. Spider-Man 2 was exquisite. Was Spider-Man 3 even better than exquisite? No. No. And well, I don't hate this movie, and I don't think many people do. To be completely honest, I think the worst concern is that, it's okay. No. Mary Jane is still unlikable in this movie. That doesn't change. Peter is still fantastic in this movie. That doesn't change. What changes is the fact that Peter's character kind of goes through a very pointless arc just because it happened in the comics. What I'm talking about, of course, is what you're seeing on your screen right now, which is the pairing of the symbiote with Spider-Man. To be honest, I forgot how much this movie just kind of irritated me in the sense that in trying to remain so true to the comics, it basically screws itself out of a decent movie. And I also have to just say that Venom should just never have been in this movie. God, it makes no sense at all. Like, ever. Its entrance makes no sense. It just crash lands on Earth. Then it hitches a ride onto Peter's motorbike. And then it just becomes part of him. Until Topher Grace's Eddie Brock gets it. And now he's Venom. Because Peter got him fired. So now he's just Venom. And, this movie would have been great with Sandman as the only villain. And to not worry about New Goblin at all. The New Goblin in this movie that was teased at the end of the last movie, basically it's wasted about 10 seconds. And I'll talk about that because I don't mind where they went with New Goblin. I think it was a dumb direction originally. And then I think, at the end of the movie, I guess it kind of makes sense. But, basically, Peter just knocks Harry the fuck out. Man loses memory, gets amnesia, forgets Spider-Man killed his father, then remembers, then learns out it's Peter. Peter then enlists his help to go fight Venom and Sandman, and that's just like the whole character arc that Harry even undergoes. He becomes Goblin, he gets amnesia, he kind of becomes Goblin again, but now he becomes Goblin for good because he realizes Peter really needs his help, and he decides to let bygones be bygones. Why he couldn't do this before, I have no idea. And they highlighted it so very much. And Harry, of course, ends the movie, spoiler alert, dying. And this is a fine character arc for I think it works. I don't know. They definitely could have gone in a much worse direction, so you know what, I'll take it. And, again, like I said, Venom in this movie is just god-awful. Sandman's fine. He's the real killer of Uncle Ben. It works. It's a nice little retcon. Still kind of annoying, though. Because Sandman's the most likable one. And it's just like, oh, he just killed Uncle Ben. But you kind of have to learn to live with it. And Peter does. So, the only good news about this movie is that it redeems Harry in my eyes and makes him into a much more likable character, even if it meant that he would die in order to become more likable. Mary Jane literally never becomes likable in these movies. Like, she goes off to be with Peter at the end of the second movie. By the third movie, she's, basically already breaking up with him because he isn't everything to her. Now, of course, Peter makes a ton of mistakes, and to be honest, he's kind of an asshole, but, I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. You never feel the chemistry these two are supposed to have, and it shows. So, yeah, this movie is much worse than Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. If I had to give it, a rating, we're probably thinking somewhere in the 6 out of 10s. And just to recap, Spider-Man was an 8, and Spider-Man 2 was a 9. Spider-Man 2 was a solid 9. Spider-Man was a light 8. And this is probably a solid 6. A solid 6. We're not really in 6.5 territory, but it is solid. If we're in 6.5 territory, I'd probably just round up. Unless I really didn't feel like it deserved it. Spider-Man 2 does not deserve a 10 out of 10, because that would mean it would have to be perfect. Which, in my eyes, only a couple of movies in the MCU are even close to that, and it's not Spider-Man 2. It's close. It's close to perfection. And sure, I'm sure if I rewatched it enough times, maybe I'd be able to force its way onto perfection, but I don't think it does. Yeah. This movie suffers from Uh, I don't even know what it suffers from, because they took 3 years to make it. This came out in 2007. You'd think they could make a better movie. They just didn't. As we all know, Spider-Man 4 ended up getting cancelled, as Raimi just was not thrilled with where the franchise was heading. And you're probably thinking, well, what was the remnants of this franchise then? If there was just a trilogy, they were planning on a 4th movie, they were planning on a 5th and a 6th movie as well as a Venom spin-off, I think, and a Sinister Six spin-off, maybe? That might have been the plan. No. No, Sinister Six was until later. They wanted a Venom spin-off, and they wanted 3 more sequels. But they canceled it after the 4th one. They canceled the spin-off. The spin-off really went into development hell, which we'll talk about later. And basically, Sony was like, well, we have enough time, let's just reboot it, and hope no one cares. And they basically used up the remaining 5 years that they were able to have until they could reboot it. Which, of course, we're not going to get into just yet, because we have a lot of MCU content to get through. So stick with me. It's going to be a long ride, but I think we're ready for it. I hope you guys all did enjoy this video. You can leave a like, you can comment down below if you want to see me tackle other universes, but like I've said before, the MCU is going to take me so long, and I'm really never going to get caught up with it, so, you know. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to drop a like as well, I don't know if I said that. And you can also post notifications. I try to post as often as I can. It's not going to be daily. I'm spoiling you, but that won't remain. If the videos do well, I'll try to get a new one out as quick as I can. If the videos do a little bit more poorly, I'll be less hesitant to get one out immediately, but it will happen. Like, the Spider-Man 2 video didn't do as well as the Spider-Man video did, so I'm not fully, and I'm looking at a bunch of analytics, I'm not just looking at views. So, of course, I was a little bit more hesitant. Like, I waited to make Spider-Man 3, but I did. This is Spider-Man, this is it, so. The next thing we're reviewing is a commercial for Iron Man, so that'll be a quick banger. I can get that out on Sunday, easy peasy, and yeah, it'll be fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Anyway, moving on.